Hello. Welcome to Untethered Fridays. So I'm your host, Jennifer Sullivan. You may have guessed that. I'm the only person here. I was thinking today we could talk about not taking things personally. It's a hard one, right? Like, I know that I have a tendency to not just take things personally, but also catastrophize. So it's not great. Not great for the soul, you know. And I know it's a big issue of mine, is that I will take something personally that probably isn't personal. Probably, right? But maybe it is. Is it? Or maybe, I don't know. I think we all struggle with this. When someone does something or says something that pushes a button in us, I think we need to look, or okay, speak for myself. Water. Dry mouth. I had blueberries this morning. I feel like my lips are blue. So if you see my lips being blue, or my tongue, or my teeth, I had a bunch of blueberries. So when I feel this way, I can get carried away. I can. There's definitely a truth there. I'm working on that. And I think maybe this is a topic I'll discuss with Robin later on at Untethered Talk with Robin Thomas at 2:00. But I think it's important to keep in mind that something someone else is doing or saying to you actually has very little to do with you. I mean, sure, something, right? If it's a reaction to something you did, if you're a jerk, yeah, maybe you should take it personally. but in general, people react to things from their own view of the world, right? So if someone has a view of the world where everybody's out to get them, and you know what I mean, like that's their early experiences, that's how they're gonna react, and it has nothing to do with you. It really is the other person's stuff. Their actions, their words are theirs, and in general they're not personal. Like in any case, like if someone just insults you, like, come on. Like, don't get upset. Like, it's hard, but like, don't get upset. Anybody who insults someone is a jerk. They're jerks. No, it's it has to do with them and not with me, right? Sorry, I'm getting a lot of like third eye blockage. So it's difficult in the moment to remember that. I can get carried away with this terrible connection. Why? Maybe I should just turn the cellular off. I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, it's the wireless, right? It's using the wireless. Anyway, so in the moment, it's difficult for me to remember that this person is reacting out of their own stuff. And it has to do with them. And actually, I should be compassionate about it, because it just shows how they were hurt. It can be tiring, though. So I think reframing things is important. Here's the thing. I mean, this has happened in plenty of places in my life, right? Like, and I'm sure it happens to everybody. Someone does something and you come up with the reason that they did it. You're like, it's because of this. There's no other way. It could be anywhere else. I mean, clearly, I've done this a billion times, and I think other people do too. Clearly it's this, and there's no questioning it. And then, you come to find out something that you could never have guessed is what happened. You know, so I am working on keeping that in mind. And even when it isn't like they're having a bad day, compassion for where they're coming from. But it hurts, right? Like, it hurts. But you know, if I can really take that truth on, then it won't. Sorry, I'm just, you know, you might have guessed that there's a situation that I'm taking personally. So yeah, I mean, like, you just never know what's going on with another person. You never know what their background is. You don't know what their triggers are. And if they're triggering something in you, that's something to look at yourself for, right? Like, if I get triggered by someone doing X, Y, or Z, that's me. That's not them. That's not them. My reaction, my emotions, my thoughts in reaction to them are mine. They're not theirs. They did not cause them. They may have triggered them, but you are responsible for your own emotions, your own thoughts, and your own feelings and energy. Even if you don't know how to control them, they're yours. And so if something comes in and hits a button, like, what does that mean? Right? Like, this is stuff we're going to talk about with Robin today. So this is now, the Untethered Fridays is becoming the precursor to the show with Robin at 2:00. But yeah, I hate when I lose my track of I need better lighting. This is just silly, guys. Just silly. Woo! All right. Okay. Let's see. Is that better? Somewhat better. The shadows aren't catching the bags underneath my eyes as much. All right. So, not taking things personally, looking at yourself, looking at what is being triggered. So if someone does something and you get all tense and uptight about it, what is it that they hit? Right? Because their shit is theirs. Their shit is theirs. It honestly does not have to do with you, for the most part. It has to do, their reaction has nothing to do with you. The fact that they were triggered might. You know what I mean? But like, whatever their reaction to is, it's an outcome of how they've experienced. Is that gonna stop doing that? How they've experienced life thus far. You know, the people, you know, there are people out there that are mean. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm talking out in the wide world. Like, I don't really hang out with mean people. But you know, people with ill intent. And while it's really easy to take that sort of thing personally, I think the meaner someone is, the more it speaks to a bad experience in their life. I don't know about that, actually. Let me preface this with, or they're a narcissist. Like, I know someone who, remember, I mean, if you've been watching, which you haven't, there was a whole situation with someone who we invited to live here until they could find another place because they had to leave their place, and he just stayed. And I finally had to be like, no, you have to leave. And he got really pissed off. And sure, maybe something in his past causes him to do this, because it happened several times, like, where he just got pissed off and seems to think that everything he wants should be his. But maybe something did happen in his past, or he's just an entitled white man, you know, like one or the other. I'm going with the entitled white man thing, but it was like, it was, guys. It was like, what? But again, it had nothing to do with me. Although he did scare me a lot. But I went through it and I got to the other side and I started saying good things about myself. So I am grateful for it. See, that's another thing. If something happens and you take it personally, this is so cute. I have like my iWatch. Woo! Can you? No, you can't. Yeah. No. Yes. My iWatch is sometimes you like it will. It doesn't matter. It's adorable, and I like it. So you can choose to take things personally, or you can look for not the reason that they did it, because you will never guess it. Even if you do, you will never know if you're right? So what's the point in trying to guess what someone's thinking or what someone's feeling and what they're doing? You know what I mean? But we all have our assumptions. And we have to check those. I mean, I know that this is... sorry, I'm just like relaxing. I don't know something I was tense about. And I'm releasing, and I'm not really quite sure. I think maybe that's what it is, but it doesn't really feel like that anyway. The point is, looking at things that are triggered, like, so I'm looking at me, and I'm like with that guy. I got really, I'm not an angry person. I don't do anger very often. I got angry at him. I was pretty pissed at him. But moreover, I think the thing that hurt me the most, or the thing that I was just baffled at the most, was like, dude, we're so nice, and we did you such a, like, I've never done a favor like that for someone in my life, and like, I barely knew you, and you're being such a dick. You know what I mean? Like I was dumbfounded that someone could do that. And it's a good lesson for me, because there are people out there who don't care if you're nice. They don't care how well you treat them. They're just going to treat you the way they want to treat you, and that's it. And that, again, is not something to take personally, right? It's whether or not this thing with the on and off thing, it says reconnecting, but like, come on, why are you reconnecting? It's not something to get upset about. It's the outside world. I can't do anything about it. So that's what's happening, and I'll just deal with it every time it does, with a happy, grateful heart. So, God, guys, I go off on these things, right? Like, I go off on these things, and then I can't get back to where I was. Don't take it personally, even if it's not something that happened to them in their background. Some traumatic event or series of traumatic events that caused this behavior. They're still miserable. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying it like they're miserable, see? Like, maybe a little bit is like that. Yeah, I don't like that part of me. I will say that. That's not a nice color on me, but there is, if we're going to be honest, let's be honest. When someone's a douchebag and there doesn't seem to be a reason for it, it does help just to say, you know what, they're miserable. And on one hand, most of me is like compassion, like, you know what, they've also obviously got their shit, so I'm not gonna touch it. They obviously are miserable people, and that is going through life that way is misery. And I can be compassionate, but sometimes it's also like, like if you're just like, okay, you get what you deserve. You know what I mean? It's feeling kind of vindicated by that thought, which is, it's not a nice color on me, but it's true. It's what happens, right? Like, I'm a nice person. Let me tell you, I'm a nice person. Sometimes being nice does work. You know what I mean? It's not like it's just comes out of the sky. I'm like, sure, you know, we all have our natures, but nice is work sometimes. Compassion is work sometimes. I don't want people out there to be like, oh, well, it's just your nature. You're a kind person, and that's just who you are. I'm not like that. I mean, yes, you know, my nature tends towards compassion and kindness. And there are people who don't. And you know what? To each their own. Except here's the thing with the compassion. Like my nature tends towards compassion and kindness, but I also like to pat myself on the back for that. Let's be honest. I'm like, that's the best. Like, you have the best. You're the best. But on the other hand, I've got the whole self-esteem thing, right? So, you can simultaneously, I'm just going off now, guys. We're going, let's see where we go. You can simultaneously hate yourself and love yourself, or think you're great at the same time. I know, because that is what I do. What I did, because I am learning not to hate myself, and to, you know, to actually, like, yeah, okay, so my nature comes from, yeah, why shouldn't I be like, yeah, that's great? You know, like, my nature, people have different nature. Nice is something you do, no matter what your nature is. Nice is something, I'm sure Mother Teresa had to work at nice. It's something to, like, attain. You know what I mean? Like, that's work. Being that compassionate is work. It is. And some people tend towards, like, that's what they want to do. And some people are kind of, their nature, this reconnecting thing, this all of a sudden dropping out thing is kind of like I'm grateful for it because it's a test. It's a small little thing, right? Low-hanging fruit, guys, low-hanging fruit. The question here, the test here is, can I just be okay with it? Like, so what? Okay. But it does, it comes in and hits something, and it's just like, ah, you know what I mean? Like, but why? It's like people get upset at the weather. It's like, no, that's just stupid. Why are you upset at the weather? Like, it is doing what it's doing, and it's going to do what it's doing. You know, like, sure, you can be kind of like, oh, it's raining. But, like, don't get angry about it. Anyway, so I remember a friend of mine one time was, like, pissed that it was snowing. They're just like, it shouldn't be this way. It's like, really? It shouldn't. Anyway, my point is, yeah, my point is, so, like, our natures all kind of bring us one direction or another, right? I'm not quite sure what that is. People say that if I had been born, like, if my spirit or my soul or whatever had been put into a different body, I would be exactly the same as that person. And I don't know that that's true, to be honest with you. I don't know. Because I think we'd all react to that differently. I mean, if I was that person, yes, absolutely, that's how I'd react. Because I would be that person. And not me, you know? But monitoring the excitement levels. Okay. But since my nature tends towards kindness and compassion, I feel like, sorry, my lips are, like, chapped as hell. I feel like bad when I'm like, isn't that awesome? like I have the best one. I'm the best one. My nature's the best one. Like, unequivocally it is. I'm sorry. But, like, to me, and this is just to me, it is unequivocally the right thing to do, to be kind and compassionate and help people, even if it means inconveniencing yourself. You know, not big inconveniences and not for little things, but, like, you know, like, well, little things, yes, but, like, if there's also the boundaries issue, right? There's also the boundary. But so we're not gonna... It's okay that it keeps doing that. It's totally fine that it keeps doing that. I am feeling like I'm honestly, okay, let's just have a little practice here. That keeps crapping out on me. Let's rephrase that. That keeps losing signal and telling me it's going to reconnect, and then reconnecting. And my reaction to that is here. And it's irritation, annoyance. Not that, I mean, there's a slight difference, right? I'm irritated, I'm annoyed, and I'm angry. And that's not really something to be angry about, is it? Is it? It's not. So I'm going to feel that. But you know what? That's the other thing. Like, okay, it's not something to be angry about. However, I have every right to feel that way. So, because if you judge yourself for your emotions, vocal shred, guys. I gotta get rid of that. If you judge yourself for your emotions, that's just putting a whole nother, that is just putting a whole other layer of stress and uncomfortable feelings on top of the feelings that are already uncomfortable. So why would you do that, right? Like, so allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling. I'm allowing myself to feel whatever I'm feeling and not judging it, because sometimes I do judge it, right? Like right now I'm getting angry or irritated or whatever at the thing just dropping out. And then I'm like, you shouldn't be getting angry and irritated at the thing just dropping out. No, I'm irritated by it. Okay. I'm not going to act from that place. I'm not going to pick up the phone and throw it across the room, even though I kind of want to. But what I'm doing instead is noticing that feeling and relaxing my body. So my back, my shoulders, my chest, my solar plexus, my tummy, everything, the back of my neck, my throat. I'm just letting it pass. And then I close up again. Interesting. When you start paying a lot of attention to the energy in your body, which I've been doing lately, you feel shifts. And so right then it was like, I could feel it, like as I was relaxing, I could feel the energy of that irritation or whatever flow through, but it hasn't gotten all the way through. So I got to continue to relax and release and allow it to go on its way. It's funny though, because parts of my body will clench up. So that's an interesting experience. Yeah, we're just going all over today. We're going all over today. Let's just cover whatever comes into my mind. Huh? All right. Yeah. So yeah. I kind of just felt like what it would be like to actually let something go, and realizing like, hey, if that's what it might feel like if that feeling I just had moves towards completion, because instead I'm just kind of tensing up before and not letting it go, like down here. That means I haven't really let anything go from the past, because that's a new feeling. But whatever, it's good progress. See, a little bit more. Just let it go. Just let it go. So taking things personally, blah blah blah, things are hitting you, those are things to be conscious about. I'm sorry, I'm just summing what we've been talking about in my mind, summing it up, because I want to get to wherever it was that we just left off. So they have their shit, compassion. Yeah, I personally, and it is part of my personal belief system, that things should be done with kindness and compassion. And I'm pretty sure about that. Like, I'm not pretty sure. I'm like 100% positive that that's how to live your life. And, that's how to treat other people. Live your life, do however. I mean, obviously, everybody lives their life according to what they believe is right. I just happen to think, and that, maybe this is closed-minded of me, but I just happen to think that the best way to be is kind and compassionate. I think that's the best place to work out of. Am I wrong? Right? Like, I remember, this was interesting to me. I'm liberal. You may have guessed. And I have, most of my good friends are on the same boat. And I remember it was several summers ago now. Wow, it was a while ago. I was talking to a friend of mine, and she's like, we were talking about how, we want policies that reflect kindness and compassion for people, and, understanding. And, okay, if you're going to have social programs, rather than cutting them, why don't we spend some money on someone who investigates? That can be their job. And you make sure that no one's committing fraud. Or at least you cut down on the fraud, right? Because if you take a social program away, the people who need it won't get it. For instance, I'm starting a company, right? I'm starting a business. Okay, yeah, we're going everywhere. I'm starting a business, and I need to focus all my time and energy on that. If I had to worry about rent and stuff like that, I would have to be Ubering, and it would take up all my time, and this wouldn't happen. But during this period of time where the government is helping me, I'm getting back on my feet, and that's what this money is for, right? It's not like, that's the thing I can think about. Like, sure, I could be out there doing just some job to make some money so I can eke by a living and be miserable. And you kind of feel like that's what you're supposed to do. But this money, honestly, is put there so that people who are having trouble can get back on their feet. And you're not going to get back on your feet by driving for Uber, right? You're going to get back on your feet when you can take a minute and build something that will make sure that you're never in this position again. Like, never in this position again, right? That's what this is for. Anyway, so we were discussing that sort of thing, and we were kind of talking about the two different sides. And she's like, well, I don't, this is my opinion, and I don't think, I don't want to say that that's the only, I don't remember exactly what the wording was, but it was along the lines of like, there are two different ways of looking at things, and I don't want to say mine's the right one. And I was just like, that's ridiculous. That's stupid, because the way we're looking, not stupid, but stupid, the way we're looking at it is love, equality, respect, compassion, right? Peace, cleaning up the environment. Those are the things we want. Anybody want to argue against those? People do, and you know where they are. They're on the other side, and they kind of, the extreme being, white nationalists or whatever. But also just, and I'm sorry, not sorry, but people who back Trump, like, blindly, like, open your eyes. Like, are you good? If you're a good person, you're not going to want what he does to people, like, open your eyes. But at the same time, I know a lot of good people who choose not to see certain things. Anyway, I was like, those are the places we're coming from. They're coming from fear. They're coming from hate. They're coming from, I'm better than you and I deserve more. They're coming from greed and scarcity, right? So, I mean, am I wrong? Am I wrong to say it's go with the compassion and the love and the peace and the healing the planet? Isn't that the right one? isn't that better than like, you know what, let's screw everybody so we can make more money? Is that not true? I don't know. I think it kind of is. And I'm going to go with, no, I'm being a little sarcastic / ironic. I forget the difference now because of that stupid Alanis Morissette song. That's stupid. It's good. Anyway, I'm going to definitively, I'm going to step out there and I'm going to say compassion is always the path to take. You know, I mean, like, boundaries, absolutely. You know, like not allowing yourself to be walked over, but you can be nice and compassionate and kind and not allow yourself to be walked over and have respect for yourself. You know, like you don't have to, people think nice means, I thought nice means like you don't assert yourself. You don't stand up for yourself. You know, and that got me into a lot of trouble. But that's what people think being nice is, and it's not. It's just having compassion for others and understanding that their way of thinking is not the only way of thinking, except for thinking that kindness and compassion are the way to go, rather than like, you know, hate, anger, greed, or hate, anger, and greed, and manipulating a large part of the populace to believe that you're doing what's best for them when it's the policies that are going to keep them where they are for the rest of their lives. Anyway, not to get political. So yeah, you know, to be open to people to a degree, right? You know, like you don't allow human sacrifice, you know, you don't allow certain practices that mutilate bodies. You know, in certain, I mean, like you can mutilate your body if you want to mutilate your body, but I mean like forcefully and without consent, and it being like, I'm sorry, I'm thinking about FGM, and it's like, no. I don't care what you think, no. Okay, let's stop thinking about this. It's the worst thought I can have. It's not the worst one, but it's pretty bad. So, God, where were we going? Compassion. Working from a place of compassion and not taking things personally. That's what we're doing right now, right? That's what we're talking about. Understanding that others have different ways of looking at the world. They have different thoughts. They have different things going on in their lives that you have no idea about. You know, like if you were trying to, back to the beginning, right? Like taking it personally, if you think you know exactly what someone is thinking and exactly what they're doing, unless you've like been like married for 50 years and just know each other so well. Like, but I mean, like, you know, like if you think you know what's going on in someone else's head, you don't. You know, like you don't. So the point is, why get upset about it and take it personally? And yet it's very hard not to take it personally and be hurt or angry, right? So that's when I have to, because I'm going to speak just for myself, take a deep breath and recognize, okay, this person's coming from a different place. Their experiences have led them to feel that the world is X way, and it has nothing to do with me. Even though sometimes I want to kill you. Not kill you. I mean, like, really, let's be, it's a figure of speech. But sometimes it's like, really. But taking things personally doesn't lead anyone to goodness. In fact, the world would be a better place, in my opinion, if people would stop taking things personally and look at the other person's point of view and realize that what they're thinking is probably not true because they think a different way and they have different life experiences. So you can't assume that people think and feel the way you do, because some people have been hurt very badly in the past and so have a traumatic, like, trauma response to things, and assume that everybody is, you know, an asshole. And you know, like, that's not something you have control over. It's not something I have control over. And it's something that I can feel the feels of whatever the irritation, the anger, whatever that is. But I can also recognize it, relax my body. I'm still learning what lean away means. I'm not quite sure, but we'll figure that one out. So that's my thought. That's my thought for the day. Don't take it personally. And we will probably be discussing that at 2:00 with Robin Thomas. So come back then. In the meantime, I am grateful for each and every opportunity I get to practice compassion and kindness. So when I get irritated or angry or hurt or upset, that is always an opportunity to grow and make myself a better person. And that's really the best way to go about living your life. Am I wrong? Anyway, just wanting to be better all the time. Am I wrong? So, yeah, it's just, I just want to be the best version of myself. And situations like that, you don't get stronger, you don't develop character if you're not challenged. And so I am grateful for the challenges. And even when I say that, it doesn't release the thought, the feeling, whatever it is, but I can recognize that and just allow it to be there and put my attention somewhere else. So I'm grateful for that. And I just want to remind you guys that you too can always choose to have a grateful day.